When glory walk the street, hurrah, my first day off the medicine, yes. Then catch a car beside you, snigger. Good day, Mr. Bantic Cooterloons. And now another winking at a van, and soon all go, look, here comes the prating gravy muncher. See him scold his shadow, ha ha, raise his hat to lampposts, and out you run to argue with a bus. And now you flying truly thwack to bones, and no padding. And when you wake to find you sat at tiny desk, scribbing scratch-head maths, while kiddies peek around the door with giggles, pointing, there's the funny man. And now here comes the teacher with a copper. Then welcome. Who package holiday, welcome. In blue jam, blue jam, blue jam.
Well, what happens usually is that he comes to the front door and rings the bell, and I open the door and say something like, why didn't you use your key, love? And he says he's lost it, and I ask him why, and he says he's been gang raped, you know, in the bottom by a gang of street puffs. And I say, well, come in, don't just stand there. And he walks very stiffly in with his face all twisted up.
Yeah, on tiptoe, the ass up like this.
He says he's bleeding. I say, oh my God, we'd better have a look. So he takes his trousers off to show me, and by then I'm very ready, you know, aching for a fuck.
Here she comes, speeding wheel on a trolley. Mary Ann Hobbs speeding wheels on a trolley. Every corner of her great big head, supported by a wooden buttress. And when she smiles, she looks like an exploding spirit. All the children watch her screaming from the Scruff. The air is full of falling police. Police coming on top, on top,
We got a phone call one day saying he'd wandered into a police station with his pockets full of heroin.
How old?
He was 3.5.
The playgroup phoned up and said they'd found her eating a dead bird.
All feathers in her mouth.
Honking like a pig.
We never taught her that.
Well, the competition to get our child into the best school in this area is so intense that we have to use whatever methods we can to ensure our child's success. And one way of doing that is to rubbish the opposition. And there are various techniques that we use to do this.
Hello. I'm just a bit worried about a little boy.
We spread rumours about the other children in the local newspapers.
Well, we're a bit concerned because we saw him incinerating a live crow. It could have been a squirrel, it was a bit charred. I think I've seen him driving a car as well. He's 3, I think. I have got some pictures, actually. My husband has a lens.
But, you know, we do things like get them drunk, which is quite easy.
Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Marina.
Oh, my God. What's happened?
I've brought Marcus home.
Marcus?
Yeah, I found him out on the green. I think he's drunk.
Drunk?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
Marcus?
he's passed out.
What is it?
It's Daniel. He's brought Marcus. He's drunk.
Yeah, there were 3 or 4 empty beer cans with him.
What's going on? Marcus? Marcus?
Stinks of beer.
Oh, by the way, he had these as well. There's a couple of half-smoked ones in there.
God.
Well, if there's anything I can do...
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Yeah, just give us a ring in. I'm on
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Shit.
Some of them are very simple, like put on a T-shirt with a scene slogan and then just push them through the gates of the school that they're trying to get into. And, but of course then the school rings up the parents when they find out who the parents are, and, well, that ruins their chances.
Here we are then, Billy. Do you want to see the nice pig? One little girl, every time she came round, we'd just lock her in the shed with a pig.
Yeah. Of course, it would be nice if we didn't have to do this. But it does work. And I like to think we're pretty good at it.
Now, you know what you've got to say? More porn now.
More porn now.
Good.
I don't think we're going to have any trouble with Andy's boy.
Now, good.
No.
Okay. Now say, hardcore porn.
Hardcore porn.
Good boy.
I had been in town for 4 days, on a roof. I hadn't meant to be there that long. I'd just gone up to check a pigeon trap I'd set last year and been cornered by a paper sack which kept blowing at me in a scary way. The roof was near the office of Stephen Vone. He edits a pull-out section. I thought he might lend me the money to get home. "Hey, Buzz, looking shit," said Vone. He always calls me by the wrong name. He said he needed a piece on street sausage vendors and offered me 200 quid if I sampled 30 sausages and filed by Friday. The angle was, we don't know which ones make you sick. Susie said £200 was very low for 2,000 words. Not as low as £20, I said, which is what you paid me for being sick in that documentary. By 3 o'clock the next afternoon, I'd drawn a sausage. 2 days passed in very similar fashion. I told Susie I must be a writer because I had writer's blank. She said this was balls and told me to get out and eat some sausages. It's Thursday now, so you'll have to eat them all today. By 10 a.m. I'd scoffed 14. The more I ate, the less I felt like walking, so the last 6 had come from the same wagon. The vendor kept peering at me as I sat and wrote. When I went to buy number 15, he said, "I'm telling Turkish Bob about you. He don't like people getting nosy on his meat." 16 sausages later, I'd had an extra one to impress Vone. I was prodding at a shop demo laptop in Dixon's. I detailed my test method, feeling bloated and toxic. The nausea thickened as I realized there was no way of telling which sausage might be most responsible for what level of illness. "May I ask what you're doing?" It was a woman's voice. "Do I know you?" I said. "Not exactly," she laughed, "but you're no doubt experiencing that strange frisson of talking to someone who seems familiar because you know them so well from their photos. Isn't it a weird feeling?" "What photos?" "Oh, come on, look," she said, and rested her chin on the back of her hand, glanced to the left, and sucked in her cheeks. "What's that?" I said. "Oh, honestly, why do you think everybody's looking at me?" "Well, because you're making quite a noise." My z was cut off by the book of her because. "Because I'm Ruby Fuss. I write on a Friday, and I couldn't help noticing that you're writing a story on that computer." I started to explain. "Hang on," she said, and dug a tape recorder out of her bag. "I haven't had a decent story since Bolan died." She told me Bolan was her terminally ill dog, and that she'd charted his death every week for 4 months, and that all London was weeping. God, it's been pants getting stuff for the column. I was going to have to get myself drug-raped for this week, she said, brandishing a jar of tablets. She gave me one and started asking questions. No one has been that interested in me since school, when I nailed my hand to my head. As we talked of salty meat and Turkish bob, I began to sweat and dribble. The shop became a giddy plug hole of plastic, price cards, and a father and child asking if I had finished with the laptop. I opened my mouth to answer, but words don't really form in a boiling geyser of pork. Ruby Fuss said, "Perfect." In a phone box 24 hours later, pale and shaking, I told Vone I had my piece on a disc. I've called it De Botulis Calidis, and it takes its form from a scientific paper. Shall I bring it round? Vone explained that my piece had been reprioritized since Ruby Fuss had come up with something very similar, that not only mentioned sausages, but a guy writing about them on a shop computer and then puking on a kid. Altogether a much better framing than mine. That was me, I said. Well, we don't want the same piece twice. But I was commissioned. Grow up, he said. I'm ripping you off. Then he asked me how I felt. Then he said he'd just decided to write a piece about the abuse of freelance writers, and could he use my story since it would really illustrate the point. But I was sick about 10 times, I said. I could hear him already tapping on the keyboard. Then I could hear him asking me to send in my disc anyway, as a perfect verite example of the sort of work that was being ripped off. I got no money, I said. We agreed on a price of £10. The girl at reception had a message from Vone. Look up, it said. I looked up. A camera went flash. He says your photo will add genuine pathos, said the photographer. And I agree. Both articles appeared the next day. Both stated that 98% of street sausages contained lethal microbes and fly eggs, and mentioned in passing that Turkish Bob was a bastard. 4 days later, he found me and pulped me with a griddle.
No one will forget the day Mark Goodyear said he'd had a baby. Baby. He brought the little bundle in for Coochie Coo, and you could tell immediately something was wrong. It had the rough form of a baby and a kind of a face, albeit scrawled out in magic marker and gashes, but it had no bones at all. Turned out it had large slices of fat removed from his body and bundled up in some loose skin, stitched into the approximate shape of a baby, and told himself he was now a daddy. That was 6 months ago. Of course, no one speaks to him now, but he still carries that thing around with him. I saw him trying to feed it some bananas.
Come in.
Morning.
Ah, yes, have a seat. Jason Murray, isn't it?
Yes, that's right, yes.
Do you know I banged your mum in here once? Ages ago. Up the arse. How is arse?
I don't know what you're talking
When
about.
she brought you in with measles, you were about 5, no?
I really have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure it was your mum. Now, what seems to be the trouble?
Well, I've come in about a rash on my stomach.
Wonderful white arse smacking all round the ball area.
Doctor?
Hot pink socket of bliss. Now, let's see the stomach. You got your mother's stomach. Sort of, yeah, I can definitely see your mother's stomach in yours. Not quite as nice, if that's not too rude. Yes. Probably got tainted by your dad's, didn't it? Unpleasant little shit, your dad.
No, actually. And can you shut up?
No, well, I think he is. He's probably completely bald now, is he? God, that wouldn't suit him. Ugly fucker.
He's dead.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No, my father is dead.
No, I don't remember doing the certificate.
Well, it was another doctor.
Well, if I didn't do it, you can pretty well forget it as a diagnosis.
Look,
if you dig him up, you'll probably find scratch marks inside the coffin lid.
he was cremated.
God, didn't you wonder what all the screaming was about?
There wasn't any screaming.
Guy burns his dad alive and pretends he can't hear the screaming.
Can I be seen by another doctor, please?
Oh, that won't do you much good. They're all wankers in this place.
I found this conversation very uncomfortable, so I would like
don't worry, it won't last all day. Now, the good news is there's nothing wrong with your stomach.
What do you mean? It's covered in a bloody rash.
Oh,
Look.
no, that's just a bit red, that's all.
Well, it's extremely painful, actually.
come on.
It's stopping me sleeping, so...
Surprised the suppressed memory of your dad's burning screams isn't stopping you sleeping.
What?
Cream or pill?
Sorry?
Cream or pill? For your rash.
Both, please.
Yeah, both. Typical. Might have guessed. Okay. There you are.
Thanks.
That should sort you out. And, do try and get a look at your mum's arse.
I'm going to have to report this, Doctor.
Oh, no, don't do that. Find your mum's arse, stare at it, and let your mind take it back 20 years, smoothing out the divots and creases.
Doctor, I really would appreciate
hang on,
it
I
if
haven't
you...
finished. Picture it aged 25, and I'll give you a tenner if you don't get a significant genital firming.
This is fucking outrageous.
Oh, all right, off you go. But you don't know what you're missing. If you change your mind, bring me a photo.
Doctor,
Yes?
you're enjoying this, aren't you?
Anything wrong with that?
Well, yes, there is, actually.
Do you want to smack me?
Sorry.
Do you want to smack me for being bad boy?
Hello?
Mr. Barfield.
Yes?
Good evening, Mr. Barfield.
Who is this?
Mr. Barfield.
Who is this?
Bruno Short.
Yes, Bruno. Can I help?
I've murdered your daughter, Mr. Barfield.
For God's sake, Bruno, when's this going to stop?
She's floating in the gravel pit.
Bruno, you know, this is hardly original.
I strangled her, and I enjoyed it.
Yes, very good. Is that it?
I laughed at the hissy noise she made.
Oh, get it up, mate. You're not impressing anybody.
But I did laugh. I'm evil, Mr Barfield.
Bruno, I'm sure you are, and I'm very impressed that I'm going to have to fish my daughter out of the gravel pit, and that you did it. Well done, Bruno. But frankly, your dad was much better at this kind of thing than you are.
What?
I know you hacked off Mr Rice's head, but I mean your dad used to feed people to their own dogs, film it, play it to their families, and then shoot them afterwards.
Shut up.
Now that is a blaze of mayhem, but strangling my daughter, it's just pathetic.
Piss off.
Makes you laugh.
Look, people get a bit hung up just because they know about my dad, and they forget that I am really evil. And if I wasn't his son, they'd definitely have locked me up by now. But as it is, they're just treating me like a wanker.
You don't say.
Fuck off.
Have you finished?
Yes, guess so.
Well, you could at least offer to help us get her out.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, hang on. I bloody murdered her, I'm not helping.
Bruno?
All right.
Right. I'll see you there in half an hour.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
Why don't you people just leave me alone?
Have you ever had a transfusion treatment before?
No.
Right. What we're basically doing is filling up your blood system with urine.
Right.
It's very much a place for people to relax and benefit from the therapeutic effects of our treatments. Now, have you brought your own piss?
No.
Right. Well, we'll be starting you off on some of my piss. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a good starting piss.
Right.
I came up with the whole idea after watching a mole rats program on TV. They were urinating a lot, and I just thought, urine, that would probably help. The initial feeling of being transfused with urine is a combination of euphoria and extreme pain.
It's about the worst part of the treatment now. My muscles are in spasm.
The Piss talk sessions are very popular.
Can you stop the painting?
Right. First of all, Lawrence, I want to ask you about work. Any problems at work?
Please stop it.
Do you have a low self-esteem? There are physical activities.
Stumble around for a bit.
You're not very coordinated, but if you're determined, you can crash about a bit with help.
That's good. She certainly pushes you around, so I hope it's doing some good. Maybe it's just too early to tell.
I think I'm gaining a sort of insight into myself. The sort that most people wouldn't get in a million years, actually. But the main reason, obviously, is for the cancer. The back of my eyes.
I wouldn't try it out on myself, no. I might smear a little bit on myself. But a transfusion? Oh, no.
Please.
Come in. Ah, yes. Could you go out again and come in properly?
Sorry?
Go out again and come in properly.
Oh, but...
Go outside, count 5, and then come back in.
Right. Doctor? Hello? Dr. Berlin? Doctor?
When glory walk the street, hurrah, my first day off the medicine, yes. Then catch a car beside you, snigger. Good day, Mr. Bantic Cooterloons. And now another winking at a van, and soon all go, look, here comes the prating gravy muncher. See him scold his shadow, ha ha, raise his hat to lampposts, and out you run to argue with a bus. And now you flying truly thwack to bones, and no padding. And when you wake to find you sat at tiny desk, scribbing scratch-head maths, while kiddies peek around the door with giggles, pointing, there's the funny man. And now here comes the teacher with a copper. Then welcome. Ooh, package holiday, welcome. In blue jam, blue jam, blue jam.
Son? I don't want to.
Your daddy loves you. You know we miss you, don't you?
Well, I don't care.
Come home, son. Go for a drink and we can have a chat about it.
No.
Your mum's made a lovely stew.
Sorry, Dad, I can't.
You come on home and we can have a talk about it.
I've made my mind up.
Well, don't do this, Jamie, because your daddy loves you.
Bye, Dad.
Your daddy loves you, Jamie.
Bye-bye.